And folks, welcome in here to 2026 College Curling Nationals. This is the fourth draw, live from Schenectady Curling Club in beautiful Schenectady, New York. Teams are finishing up their practices here before the draw and finalizing the draw shot challenge to see who gets hammer, and then we'll be back with you in a few minutes with our featured game tonight, Michigan Tech versus Castleton. Hang tight. Alrighty, welcome everyone. This is the fourth draw of the 2026 College Curling Nationals here in Schenectady, New York. Tonight our featured game, we got Castleton University against Michigan Tech. Both teams started off pool play this morning. Castleton beat Yale. They are coming in at 1-0. Michigan Tech lost a tough game to University of Wisconsin Stevens Point and will pretty much have to win tonight to keep alive hopes of advancing into the playoff rounds.
Teams just finished up their practice a moment ago. Each team threw one draw to the button. Whichever team was closer ends up with the hammer to start the first end. It looked like Castleton had a closer draw, so they will have hammer to start. So rock color has already been determined, so Castleton will be playing the Yellow Rocks, and Michigan Tech will be playing the Red Rocks.
The officials have given us the go-ahead, and teams are taking the ice.
Michigan Tech starting off here with their first throw of the game. Looks like they're looking for just a guard here to feel out the ice on the first throw.
All reports earlier today indicate the ice is playing very fast and with plenty of curl. We have ice techs in from the Midwest and down in North Carolina here helping out with the ice this week. Feedback has been excellent, so you should see stones moving pretty fast and curling plenty, which always makes for an exciting game. Good guard there. Not quite on the center line, but that'll do, especially for the first of the game. Castleton trying to set up a corner guard of their own.
That one seems to be over-curling a little bit. Really sort of jumped once it caught the curl there.
Step over top. Doesn't hurt you at this point. Michigan Tech playing without Hammer here, content with the amount of traffic that's been laid out in front so far. They're going to try and come around and get a rock in the scoring area. This looks like it will crash. Although honestly not the worst outcome. It does open up the middle, which you don't love to see when you're without Hammer, but another guard is never a bad thing. Not a terrible miss right there.
Sets up well for Castleton here. They can get a nice draw behind a couple of guards. They'll be set up well to try to score two here with the Hammer. Supers are all off on this rock. Looks a little heavy. It does look like it's going to end up through the house and out of play.
And that's the adjustment you got to make, right? We've been scraping between every draw right now. The ice, while it's playing well, it's always a little bit of a guessing game. Teams do get a practice period before, but making that adjustment from what you played on this morning may not be exactly how it's playing right now in these first few rocks of the game. Just trying to feel that out and try and dial in your times.
Definitely, and that's something they'll have to keep track of throughout the game as the ice continues to evolve. Not a bad shot there. Splitting the guard, having two biters at the top of the house there. Castleton looking for that draw behind again here.
This looks a little big.
But curling nicely.
Just going to go behind the tee line, but it's going to stick around. And fully buried behind the guards. Does present a nice backstop for Michigan Tech to draw down to here.
line looks good so far. Sweepers are on it. Trying to hold that line. Keep the rock from over curling. Line looks really great. That's a very well executed shot there. When the rocks get behind the tee line like this, you know, the play is to typically continue to just work that draw line. Looks like that was the call for Castleton here to also make the same draw right on top of that red.
Sweeper's on it right away. Looks pretty narrow. Might catch actually the first guard all the way up top. Nope, but ends up raising. Michigan Tech rock in. Tough outcome there, but now Michigan Tech lies 2 with that draw path still wide open. Consolation for Castleton here is unless Michigan Tech sticks one right on the tee line, if they sail back at all, that draw is still going to be available to get a rock tight in the 4-foot and avoid giving up a big number here early on.
Michigan Tech there just going for the guard. Probably over curled on them just a little bit. Still leaves a open draw here for Castleton.
Was the guard the call there, Joe, or were they trying to draw in? I thought they were trying to go all the way, keep piling up in the house.
Oh, I see. No, I thought the call was
all right,
but
then not a terrible shot, just a little over curl.
Line's looking really good on this draw here. Will the sweepers get it to the right weight? Gets it just past
an excellent shot.
Really well done by the Vice there from Castleton. Again, with the Castleton rock there behind the tee, Michigan Tech is going to try to execute on the same draw path and stick one right on top of that yellow in the house there. Little outside of the line here. Going to just make contact with that yellow, but still sit shot rock. It is completely out in the open though, so Castleton has a couple of options. They can either take the hit here or try to make the freeze. Looks like they will opt for the hit.
Going for the hit. Sweeper on it right away, trying to push it a little outside. Should get at least a piece. Question will be if shot rock can stick around, and it can, right on the nose.
That curled really nice at the end there.
Would have loved the touch of roll under cover, but make the other team make the shot at this point in the game. Even in the open is not the end of the world as long as you get the opponent's stone out of the house.
First rock here from the skip from Michigan Tech. They're going to throw a very similar takeout here. They're going to definitely hope to get a little bit of roll underneath cover, make sure that their rock doesn't stay out in the open. Their goal here is to either steal or try to only give up one here, which we call the force. Rock is away. Gonna make contact, pretty much a nose hit, just like the previous shot. Still remains out in the open here for Castleton. Castleton skip here, Remy Maynard. Hometown from Scotia, New York, just down the road. Looking to make a nice takeout here, get a little bit of roll underneath, and try to set up a big score for the first end.
Remy, a long-time junior curler here at Schenectady Curling Club. Looks a little narrow out of his hand.
Sweepers are on it.
Sweepers can get it by.
They are going to
live with the roll as long as he takes out the Michigan Rock. And still has a chance for 2 here with the hammer.
Where do you think's the best spot for Michigan Tech to put this to try to get their steal or the force here? Are we looking at the top of the floor?
I think I'm trying to draw the top 4 just to the left side of center line. I would even live with showing quarter of a rock, half a rock, something to attract a possible hit. But if you leave a little bit exposed, in all likelihood, any hit is going to spill out, and you're going to only concede the 1. So first priority is being shot. If you're down 2, it's not a terrible spot to be, but it makes the
looks a little heavy here.
One a little easier. Going to sail through. Now Castleton's left with the open draw. Open draw for 2. Just have to get a little bit more than half of the 8-foot. We'll see after throwing a takeout on his first stone. We'll see if he's got that draw weight dialed in early here.
Castleton's got to be happy about the way they started here. Anytime you have an opportunity to get your 2 with the hammer, you got to be happy with that, especially when you're feeling out the ice in the first end. Line looks pretty good so far. Just got to make sure you don't make any contact with any of the guards up there.
Sweeper's off it all the way, indicating it's a little heavy. It's going to have to settle down. It's going to sail deep. So a missed opportunity there for Castleton, but they still get their 1. Michigan Tech will not be unhappy with the outcome there as they get the force and now get to take their first crack at hammer in the second end.
After each end, teams get a 1-minute break. At that point, they can talk with their coaches or alternate players. Gives them a chance to catch their breath and talk strategy before throwing their next rock.
These games here at Nationals are all played on thinking time. Some of you may be familiar with it. The high-level curlers, they are used to playing on thinking time. College events, it's a little uncommon. Most college bonspiels are not played with a thinking time, but more an overall clock that both teams are responsible for. So with the thinking time, each team starts with 30 minutes. And when they are in the house deliberating and thinking about their shots up until the point where they cross the tee line with their delivery, they are on that clock. And if a team runs out of its 30 minutes of allotted time, they lose. It doesn't matter if they're up 20, they lose. So teams are very conscious of the clock here, and an uncommon factor for them to consider is, other than nationals, I don't think many college events play under the clock. Always something, a little wrinkle for them to keep in mind here.
Castleton's lead there with a high guard just off the center. Not a bad spot, especially with this much curl. You probably want those guards a little tighter to the top of the house, but not a bad shot.
Michigan Tech sweepers on it hard. They want a piece of the house here. They are not going to get it. It's going to come up just about 6 inches short. Still plenty of room to come around.
Yeah, we'll see what Castleton does here, whether they try to set up another guard or try to go behind the double guard there.
I think without hammer, I'm perfectly happy to junk up the middle of this ice.
Definitely.
They're got the sweepers on it like they want to go behind, and they're gonna almost get there. That's a pretty good shot, a little high and a little exposed, but not a whole ton of value in Michigan Tech trying to go after that stone at this point. So they're just gonna try and come further around.
Sometimes, especially at this level, just beating the other team to the button is the key to having a good end. So Michigan Tech can set themselves up really well here. Looks like he's going to go get by the guard.
A little bit heavy. It's going to end up in the back 12, it looks like. Similar to the last end, where setting up rocks behind the tee line. And it looks like we're going to see a lot more draws down that path as we build a stack of rocks back towards the tee. Draw here just hanging out wide for Castleton. Not a lot of curl on this one.
You can see the Michigan Tech skip sweeping that rock out of play. The opposing team is allowed to sweep the other team's rocks once they cross the tee line. Looks like Michigan Tech here is trying to hit that yellow at the top of the house, clear it out of there, give themselves a better lane.
Now that they have a rock in the back of the house, and it's questionable whether or not that rock is shot, they decided it was time that there was value in going after that rock, because even if it's the shot nicked the guard there, if you do hit it, you're going to spill out to the open side of the ice, but at that point you would have been sitting 2 with your stone in the back of the house. Although with the wreck there, it's up in the air as to who in fact is closer to the button.
With that slight miscue on the last throw, Castleton has a decent opportunity here if they can get one behind their rock at the top of the house. On a pretty good line here, just letting the sweepers do their thing. Not going to quite get buried, but definitely shot rock. Takeout here for Michigan Tech. They're trying to avoid the jam here, hitting the yellow back onto their red. So they're looking to either hit it on the outside or on the inside. Rock's a little wide here, just trying to catch the outside of it. And it does go over top of the back red, so that's a pretty good shot. And the shooter sticks around.
Castleton content to ignore both reds in the house. No sense in going after that outside one. They're just going to keep trying to draw behind. They have a nice high guard and one in the top 12. Plus a little bit of backing with that Michigan Tech red in the back. So they can just dial in this draw path, get one to hang out around the tee line, they'll be very pleased. This looks a little bit heavy. Heavy and outside, both skips on it. And it's going to stay in play, but a little deeper than they were hoping for. Now Michigan Tech looking to get rid of the top 12. If they can hit this and stick around, they're likely going to be sitting 3. Sweepers off it all the way. Skip's calling for nothing. Looks like it might catch a piece on the outside. It will, but not enough to move it out of the house. It actually moves it closer to the button, biting a little bit of the 8-foot. And it is now shot rock.
Great opportunity for Castleton here. If they can get a nicely placed draw behind, makes it more likely for the force here, forcing Michigan Tech to only 1. Stark's got a curl. Might be closer to onto the back rocks there, down to the red. Gonna be almost right over the mid.
Yeah, weight was great. Just drifted a little outside. Just gonna leave a relatively wide open hit for Michigan Tech to come down and eliminate.
Still another risk at the jam here if they hit too far on the outside.
Skip does think it's outside. She's calling no sweeping here, letting it try and curl. It's going to be so outside that it actually shoots it out beyond the backing. You lose the shooter, but more importantly, you eliminated the Yellowstone. Michigan Tech will take that. Now we stick with the same strategy here. Someone feels like the first person to bury a draw around that high guard is going to be the one to score here. Castleton's gone for it multiple times and left him exposed for Michigan to take him out. We'll see if Skip Remy Maynard here can actually find the line to get it successfully buried. His weight's been a little heavy so far. I mean, part of that is when your first shot of the game is a takeout, it can be hard to dial it back down to the draw weight. See if he makes the necessary adjustment here.
They seem to have taken a lot of ice here, so it's got plenty of room to curl.
Sweepers are off it. Weight doesn't look bad, but it is still hanging outside. That path might be not curling as much. It's, again, perfect weight. Just hanging on a little farther outside, just like the previous Castleton draw. And Michigan Tech will get to hit it.
The last few takeouts on this line seem to stay pretty straight. Something that the Michigan Tech team will need to take into account.
Yeah, the
here.
draws aren't curling much on this turn, and the hits are.
Can you hear us?
All right, another hit, just hanging on that outside line. Looks like it's not going to catch a piece. It's going to flash by. Castleton here without hammer in pretty good shape as it gets to their last stone. Would not be upset with a guard right on the center line. Sitting 2, that rock in the 4-foot would be very hard to get rid of. Sweepers off it all the way. Now they're on it, trying to get some finish out of it. Just need a little bit of late curl. Trying to freeze it. Almost got it there.
That's a pretty good shot. Puts the pressure on Michigan Tech here. Castleton's sitting 3, and Michigan's got to make a real good shot here to even get their 1.
I got a rogue rock coming in. Penn State's able to deal with it before it does any damage, but normally you see the 2 rocks lined up like this, you think, oh, the double is definitely there. The issue is those 2 rocks in the back 12, the jam is going to be very, very difficult to avoid for Michigan Tech here if they do move both of those rocks.
Yeah, it looks that rock on the top of the button is going to be on a direct path for the red back there. But as long as you can roll your shooter a little bit to the right side of the house, they should be able to sit shot. Really difficult shot here, though.
Big weight here from the skip, Gracie Cohn, as she is keeping a close eye on it. Looks pretty good, and the jam is there, and it is going to end up not costing them, as the shooter was close enough, and it looks like 1 red.
Really great shot there. Against 3, lots of pressure, made a tough double for your 1. Really impressive. Both teams holding the other to a force to start off the game here. 1-1 after the second end. Based on those first 2 ends, it's going to be a really close game the whole way through.
Little time in between ends here. Teams can collect themselves, take a breath, talk to their coaches, talk amongst themselves, talk strategy, motivate each other. A little different than a league night when you're stacking the rocks up and immediately going back to the next end. It's nice to be able to get a minute here, collect yourself in these games that have just a little bit more pressure than the usual competition.
This is the fastest game on the ice so far. All other sheets are still finishing up their second end, so neither team using too much of their thinking time at this point. They're both good on time, so there's no pressure of that right now.
You love to see it. Have conviction behind your decisions.
Definitely.
Line it up, throw the rock, let's move on.
Great guard to start off there on the center line. Exactly what you would draw up.
Now we are playing with the no tick rule, so that rock, because it is on a piece of the center line, Castleton will not be able to move it while we are still playing in the free guard zone. So the first 5 rocks, if Castleton moves that rock off the center line, Michigan Tech would have the option to place their guard back and eliminate the yellow stone from play, or if they really liked the results, say Castleton pushed it right back into the house somewhere in the 4-foot, they could choose to leave it. One of the newer wrinkles of the past couple of years.
That guard from Castleton came up a little short there, didn't pass the far hog line, so it was removed from play there. Michigan Tech here looking to draw around behind the guard that they just set up, trying to get to the button right away here, set themselves up for either a steal or the force again.
Something you'll notice here early on. Now the first 2 ends have played out. Both teams seem to be content to get a single guard in play and immediately draw around into the house, which is an aggressive play and again, at this level, it can often be a question of first to the button. The opposite strategy would be, especially when you don't have hammer, you're trying to force your opponent to put up multiple guards. And even if you do have hammer, trying to play out to the corners and keep the center wide open. So far, both teams playing right down the center of the ice and into the house early in the ends.
Castleton's draw there ended up over curling on him, setting up an additional center guard there, protecting the Michigan Tech rock. So good opportunity for Michigan Tech to put another draw back there. It's a tough job for the skip sometimes to adjust the strategy mid-game, but right now they're sort of on autopilot for the way that they want to play the game, and as the score changes, they may adjust that, play a little more open or with more guards, trying to set up larger scores.
So Castleton going to try and open up the center here, peel their own guard, which when you have hammer is never a bad strategy. You want to keep the center of the ice open ideally, so that in the worst case you always have a shot for one at the end.
Ton of weight here from the Castleton second, and that's a really great shot.
Yeah, great job of moving rocks around. Ends up totally opening up the middle and eliminating one of the Michigan Tech stones. And now the end really can set up in Castleton's favor here, as Michigan Tech's going to try and play out to the wings behind those newly placed corner guards.
A draw behind coming here from Michigan Tech. They're trying to get behind that yellow guard on the right side. Sweepers are on it now, trying to sweep the curl. They do make it past the guard, and this is going to end up being fully buried. Very nice. What do you like here? Would you try to peel your own guard now, run it back again? No, looks like they're going to try to draw to it.
Looks like they're going to, I wouldn't, looks like the corner freeze would be an excellent,
Would be really nice
shot, because that red is not, you might see maybe a quarter of it from the hack, maybe a little less. You could get behind it, but if you want to score multiple, I think you're going to have to get that rock out of play at some point. And they are going to be narrow and light, end up coming right over top of their corner guard. Now, Michigan Tech's going to do the smart thing here and try and split the house. They can get behind both corner guards. It's going to be very difficult for Castleton to score multiple here.
Yeah, and really just applying the pressure here. Keep the pressure up, keep as many rocks of yours as you can in the house, and make the other team respond.
And if you're Michigan Tech without a hammer, you're perfectly content to leave that center open at this point, because you have your draws behind the corners. If the center remains open and you leave Castleton a draw for one at the end, you live with that. That's a good end when you force your opponent to only one and get to take that hammer back. So a little light, comes up in the top 12 and open, but high enough that even if Castleton were to take it, they would not be shot. So they're just going to try and draw behind that stone just thrown by Michigan.
It's going to be tough to get fully buried here and still stay shot rock. But we'll see what Castleton can do here. Sweepers are sweeping it right out of hand. Might be a little narrow on the line. Looks like this is going to be a little light. Come up a guard here. If the sweepers can get it over the hog line, they do.
And that's 2 shots on the same exact path that both came up light. Could be that playing down towards the back end of the ice is still just a touch slower at this point. Both teams have really started to wear down some draw paths early on in this game. See who can make the right weight adjustment first.
Supers are on it for line here. It's curling a lot. Looks like they might. Oh, it's not going to quite make it to a tap, so going to end up another guard here.
Yeah, and interesting to see him pull up on that. Only needed another 2 or 3 feet to the house. Might have been able to sweep it to bite the 12, but at the end of the day, it makes the draw just a little bit harder for Castleton.
Well-placed draw here is really what Castleton needs to try to score 2. Not an easy shot. Supers on the rock hard. Supers are staying on, trying to drag that rock as deep as they can into the house. Are they going to quite get there? No, going to end up another guard along that same line.
Again, coming up light on that line. We'll see which team can make the adjustment first on the weight call.
Lots of traffic up there. Looks like Michigan Tech is going to try to just add to that traffic, throw up another guard, protect the 3 that they are currently sitting in the house, and make it very difficult for Castleton to score here.
You can see the amount of curl that the ice is playing with right now, just based on the line that the Michigan Tech Vice is calling. He is all the way out on the edge of the 12-foot. And in a perfect world, this guard would end up just to my right side of center line. That's a solid 5 feet of curl that you need to get back to that spot. Give you an indication of how much these rocks are moving.
Oh, that beautiful stone in the middle is ours. It's just red.
Rock hasn't caught the curl quite yet, but here it goes.
And look at that thing move. It is really
That
finishing.
really went sideways. Gonna get a little rub
Quick,
over the yellow.
not the end of the world. Helps it move just another few inches. Michigan Tech will be very happy with that shot.
Yeah, that shot's going to work out perfectly. Not too many options here for Castleton. Looks like they might be trying the double run on their own yellows back into the first shot rock that red has. Or they might be trying to just peel the guard. We'll have to see. Hard to tell from this broom and what weight.
On normal league ice, I would say that's way too much for the run back, but as much as it's moving right now, that may still be the call. And I think the stones are lined up decently for that shot.
Got to hit an inch or so on the left side of that top yellow. Not a ton of weight here, so a little bit in the sweeper's hands, which is great.
They're trying to push it. Well, hard to tell if the intent was indeed the run back or if they're content with peeling the guard. It does ultimately open up the middle. The draw path is there for one potentially now.
The unfortunate
but it's
part.
just tighter, and it's even easier for Castleton to potentially block it up, or they could get very aggressive and try and put another one in the house here to really apply some pressure.
A Another Michigan Tech rock did get pushed into the top of the house there, so now they are sitting 4. So I expect a guard here. And then the pressure will really be on the Castleton skip to try to minimize the damage here.
Michigan Tech skip Gracie Cohn from Portage, Wisconsin. She's a junior, mechanical engineering major. This is her 10th year curling. Both her parents are curlers. She's grown up around the sport her whole life. Let's see if she can make the guard here and really tighten the screws on Castleton here in the 3rd.
Sweepers are all off at this point.
It's hanging out wide. Looks like it's gonna clip one of the guards, but stay off of it. All right, a little bit too much movement once it rubbed that guard. Would have loved it to hang out right around the center line, but it does slightly get in the way. At this point, the Castleton skip is just looking at what's the best draw path to try and get his 1 here and avoid giving up the big number.
Draw path is really tight. Might be able to get to the corner of the red that's at the top of the 8-foot. And even that would be a good shot. Cut Michigan Tech down to only 1, or maybe give yourself the best chance to score 1 yourself. Ice looks a little tight. They might be playing more of a bump here just to try to ensure that they get their 1 here. Really difficult shot with so many guards up top.
Rocks away. It's got plenty of weight.
Just got a curl. Right now it's still on the top guard. Sweepers are pushing it. Looks like it's gonna get in the gap.
That is going to end up hanging out right in the top 4. That is a phenomenal shot.
Really well
by
executed.
Remy Maynard there to avoid giving up the big number and end up scoring 1 himself. Castleton played with fire there a little bit, but they're no worse for wear. They'll take their point and move on.
Yeah, 3 force ends in a row there. 1-1-1.
Yeah, very tight game.
Both skips there, getting their team out of trouble in back-to-back ends. Castleton with a nice score. And now Michigan Tech will get the hammer for this end. We'll try to get their 2 or more. If you're Castleton here, you just start out with the centerline guard again, you think?
Yeah, that's been the move so far. No team without has strayed from that strategy.
Good to start out with that, especially if you can get the guard right over the center line, especially with the no-tick rule.
Sweepers
Really
are
gives
on it
yourself lots of protection.
hard. Looks like it's gonna make it over. It's gonna be pretty high, but nothing wrong with that. It is on the center line. And it's a nice shot from the Castleton lead. And that's what your sweepers are for. You don't want to throw it too heavy and risk going in the house and letting Michigan Tech hit it. Play with a nice wide open end. Rely on your sweepers. Make them work. Nothing wrong with that.
Michigan Tech calling the corner guard here. Looks like this rock has started curling quite early. We'll see if it can stay a corner guard or if it's going to over curl too much.
Ends up pretty wide. Could be useful. We'll see. Ideally, you would have had that. You would love it if it was another foot closer to the center line. Be the perfect corner guard. It's tough when that first center guard is so high on the ice and the amount of curl we have to actually get the rock to not over curl with any depth. It's a tricky shot. Castleton's immediately going to start drawing behind to get to the center of the house. This looks very nice. On it for a little bit of a finish. Ends up right at the top of the 8-foot.
It is going to be a little exposed there, but Michigan Tech is going to ignore it and try to draw one behind their corner guard that they've set up.
It's still less than the 8-foot.
On the last throw from the lead here on the corner guard, the skip was indicating to their lead that the rotation was pretty light, that the rock was not spinning all that fast. And sometimes when you put a weak handle, is what they call that, on the rock, it ends up curling a lot more. So that might explain what we saw on the last shot. A little heavy here. Will it stick around? No. Castleton skip is able to, or Vice is able to sweep that one out.
Yeah, important to note the Castleton Vice, Kaylee Abbott Bishop, is actually calling the game from the house, while Remy Maynard is throwing skip rocks, but he's out there as a strong sweeper to sweep the first 4 rocks in the end, and then coming in the house to throw the final 2. Not an uncommon arrangement.
Castleton trying to draw around there, does make contact with that top guard, pushes over the guard a little bit to try to get a little more cover for their rock in the house. Still a piece of it open. Michigan Tech is going to try to take this one out here. Likely the shooter rolls away unless you throw a pretty downweight takeout, but we'll see with how much the ice has been thrown.
Definitely control weight here, and they're concerned about it over curling. It is going to crash on that guard. At the end of the day, both rocks spill away and open it up. Not a bad miss. That's definitely the desired outcome. If you're gonna miss the takeout, better to peel the guard than to flash by wide. So Michigan Tech won't be too unhappy with that one. Castleton now trying to draw around again around that high guard, put one somewhere in the 4-foot.
Plenty of room here. Looks like it's a little heavy. Nope, that's going to come to rest in a pretty decent spot there.
Right in the back 8-foot. Now Michigan Tech, rather than trying to follow that down, is going to choose to deal with the high rock first. Take this one out of there, knowing that in all likelihood the draw down to that rock in the 8-foot will still be there.
I think they're looking to get a little bit of roll to the left side of the house here, if they can hit the inside of the rock.
They hit it. A little bit of roll, trying to carry it in. Nice shot there from Michigan Tech.
The shooter there is wide open for a hit, but the risk is always the jam, hitting the red back onto the yellow. So this is a good spot for them, so that if Castleton makes the hit to prevent the jam on the back, the shooter is likely going to spill all the way out as well. Sweepers are on it early. Line might be a little tight here. Looking to catch a piece of the inside. Does hit the guard.
Ends up spilling and does end up catching a piece of the 12. So it is in the house. That may come into play later on here as we get closer to Skip's Rocks. See, the Michigan Tech play will now be to draw behind the high guard on the right side of the house. Let's see if they can get another shot in the scoring area.
As a skip, sometimes it's easy to ignore those rocks that are just biters on the outside of the house, but sometimes they can come back and still score. Luckily, Michigan Tech here has the hammer, so that one likely won't come into play.
Draw here coming up a little short. Unclear if that is the second shot or if the Castleton rock in the back is second. Either way, Castleton's going to look to go after it right away. There probably is a skinny double if you can catch this rock on the narrow side. If you catch too much of it, you're just going to sit right there. Rocks away, sweeper on it really hard, trying to prevent it from over curling. Catches the guard and still able to make contact with both reds. Neither of them get all the way out of the house, but moved both of them far enough that Castleton is now sitting 2. So a pretty good outcome from that shot.
Not exactly the way you draw that one up, but you'll take the result.
You always have a plan B.
Definitely.
You always got to be thinking, especially as the skip, as you're calling sweeping, as you see the rocks coming down the ice. Especially when there's traffic in play. If we're not going to hit the shot that we called, what can we do to still achieve a positive outcome?
That's what they've been taught.
Nice pivot there from the Castleton team. This hit from Michigan Tech, again looking wide. Might catch the one in the back. Gonna catch the one they were going for. Jam on their own red. They do get that yellow one out of the house, so it will remain in play on the back line, but hard to see that coming into play at all here. So Castleton's still sitting 1. Oh, and they are taking it out of play. Must have hit somebody's foot there in the back of the house as it didn't completely cross the back line. But they remove it anyway.
Castleton looking just to remove the one red stone in the house. Hopefully stick around and sit 3 and really put the pressure on Michigan Tech here. First of the Skip's Rocks here for Castleton. Sweepers are discussing the weight now with the skip as he prepares to throw. Supersonic early, trying to hold it on the line.
And nice shot.
Very
from
nice
Castleton. There, sets up a potential double, but you're sitting 3. If they make the double, you tip your hat. Good way to put the pressure on. Make Michigan Tech make a shot here.
Might actually be better for Michigan Tech here to keep the second one in the back if they can roll over top of it, make it harder for Castleton to come back and remove the stone. I do think they are trying to play the double here. That's a good plan B if the rock ends up being too heavy or wide.
Rocks away here. Sweeper's off. It does look a little bit wide. Gonna catch the rock in the 4-foot, spill out, leave Castleton sitting 2. So priority 1. They got first rock out. Would have loved to see a little more curl out of that, but ultimately the 4-foot is wide open, and Michigan Tech with the hammer here is still in a decent spot to score.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Castleton, you're just trying to make the last draw for the Michigan Tech skip as hard as possible. Looks like they're trying to put one towards the top of the 4-foot, close the scoring area as much as possible, and also make it so that if Castleton or if Michigan Tech elects to hit the stone, they won't be able to get shot. Make them make the draw.
Yeah, especially at this point in the game, we're into the 4th end, almost halfway through, and there's been a lot of takeouts from the skip stones. And you have your opposing skip throwing a lot of hits, asking them to have to make a draw is usually a pretty good strategy. See if they can make that adjustment on that weight and dial it back. So here, a little deep. If you ask Castleton, I would think they would have wanted that a little bit higher. If Michigan Tech noses that rock high in the 8-foot, there's a chance that they would still be shot. Michigan Tech does not want to take that chance, and they're just going to throw the draw, knowing that they do have a little bit of backing in the back of the 8-foot. If they're a little heavy, they can come down to that. Need to catch almost a piece of the 4-foot.
Really tough draw lane here, especially with how much it's been curling. Vice is holding the broom maybe 6 inches or so off of the edge of the 12-foot, so they're expecting a ton of curl here. Really almost have to use the back.
Yeah. Worry here, if you over curl and you come on top of the Castleton rock, you definitely give up 1, maybe 2, but if you can miss that high rock in the 8, it's going to be hard not to miss the rock in the back 8, leaving yourself here 1. Coming in a little bit heavy and outside, but if they can catch enough of that rock in the back 8, they catch it, but not enough, and end up rolling for.
Looks like it's going to be a steal of 2 there for Castleton.
We've seen that a lot so far on the draws from both teams, being a little bit outside, maybe over anticipating the amount of curl, or just not having the weight right. Really close, good effort there by Michigan Tech, but a good job by Castleton to put them in a tough spot there on their last rock.
That brings us to the end of the 4th end here, so we are at the halfway mark of the game. We do play 8 ends in this event. They take a break to mop the ice.
This is the team that was advertised.
Got some other games tonight. We have on sheet 4, we have Penn State and the University of Wisconsin-Madison. They're finishing up the 4th end here. Looks like Penn State has a 2-1 lead, another tight game there. And then on sheets 1 and 2, on sheet 1 we have University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, competing against Yale. Looks like Red Rocks are off to a big lead in that one. We'll be able to tell you who that is here in
Looks like Yale
just a
yellow
second.
on that sheet.
Yep, so Wisconsin Stevens Point is out to a big lead there. And on sheet 2, we have MIT and Denver competing. Another big lead for Red Rocks there early on as they're playing the 4th.
MIT.
And that is MIT with a 4-1 lead over Yale. So we go back to our featured game here on sheet 3. The teams get a 5-minute break here, talk to their coaches, have a snack, drink some water, take a breath here before we get back for the second half. as Castleton leads Michigan Tech 4-1 through 4. We'll be back here in a minute.
Lady Luck shines in favor of Castleton today.
Alrighty then.
First rock after the break being delivered here by Castleton's lead. Sweepers are on it hard to make sure that it gets over the hog line here, and just not quite going to come up short. The entire stone there needs to be completely over that far hog line. That one was only about halfway over, so it does have to be removed from play. Michigan Tech now can sort of control how the end starts. Michigan Tech electing for the corner guard here. Down 3 towards the second half of the game here. They are looking for a big score here. Definitely need to get 2 at least. Can't afford the force or another steal. Castleton sees the corner guard as a good opportunity to try to draw behind in the house. Supers are on it. Rock is curling pretty quickly now. They just want to make sure they can get it by, which they will. It's going to end up on a great line behind that corner guard. Michigan Tech here, trying to go down that same draw line. Maybe get a little bit of bump on the Castleton stone or get it to a corner freeze, depending on how much weight. Sweepers think it's a little heavy, although it's curling up nicely. Looks like they will make a little bit of contact there with yellow, but gonna roll right out to the open.
Michigan Tech lead there is Tyler Magnuson from Byron, Minnesota. Junior civil engineering major. Wants to be a structural engineer after graduation.
Well, very
I can
nice.
say from experience that's a noble profession, and I commend him for going down that path. We always need more structural engineers in the world. As a proud one myself, I salute you, Tyler.
Yeah, you'll have to do some networking after the game.
Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of work out in Minnesota, but you know, there's always the opportunity to grow.
Castleton with the takeout there. The shooter does roll away, but still a good result. You know, in that situation, you always want to make sure that you make the hit first. Worry about the shooter sticking around with the correct roll second. This rock is going to over curl and is on the guard here. We'll see if it can stick around in the back. It does not look like that it will.
Fortunately, it rolled away, rolled outside enough that it did not end up covering that Castleton rock in the house. They can always go back after it. Again, if they choose, as Castleton's going to try and split the house here. See if they can find the draw weight. Castleton's second, Tanner Juffe from Rutland, Vermont. In college in his own backyard. Looks like he's got the draw weight pretty well dialed in. Gonna end up right around the tee line. That's a very good shot. Far enough away that there's really no double opportunity for Michigan Tech. They're gonna have to pick one to go after or try and freeze to one. A much harder shot, but one that would keep the door open for a big number. And they're not. They are going to try the hit. That's a much higher percentage shot at this point.
They would like a little bit of roll back to the center. Just try to make the next takeout a little more difficult. It is going to hit nose. Still a good shot. Again, just make the hit first. Roll is second. Looks like Castleton is going to ignore that. Do you like that call, or would you rather play the hit here?
At this point, I would be happy to hit that one on the outside, right? You have the house split, a nice nose hit, keeps you in the same spot that you were in, forcing Michigan Tech to choose between a tough freeze or to keep playing the hit game. But if you throw one top 12, even biting a bit of the top 8 directly over your own, you can always go back for that later.
On a good line here. I think a great shot would make sure that they are at least 1 and 2. Guard's not bad though, as a good miss.
As long as they hit the house there and keep it a potential scoring rock later on, that's an excellent shot. A higher guard would have been fine, but being in the house means now if you have the opportunity to go after and clean up that red on the outside, you might be able to steal a bigger number here. So Michigan Tech going to try and draw on a similar path down to that rock in the 4-foot. Maybe throwing back 8, back 12 weight for a little bump. Move that yellow rock back. Sweepers are on it hard. They got the skip out there helping out. I think it's going to come up a little light. Weight is actually pretty darn good, and they do get a little bump. That is an excellent shot.
Really great shot.
Excellent shot by Michigan Tech. And now Castleton's going to have to abandon any plans on cleaning up the outside of the house, and they're going to have to play down that same line.
really well placed shot there because you can't take out that red with only one shot. If you hit it with takeout weight, it's going to jam on the yellow and stay put, so you need at least 2 shots to remove it. So really great setup. Castleton's trying to draw right down to the corner as well, maybe get a little bump, just try to rearrange the angles a little bit. Really close there.
Just came up a little bit light. Good effort by the sweepers to get it as deep as they can. Good news for Castleton is they do have 2 rocks within the 8-foot. And they're going to feel pretty good about their chances at a force here, or at least leaving a really tight draw at the end for Michigan Tech 2. Michigan Tech.
All 4 sweepers on it right now.
Trying to play. You don't see that very
No,
often.
no, you
you
do
don't
not.
usually see 4. Seeing the skip come out from the house, that's not an uncommon occurrence. But seeing the person who threw the rock also tracking back and helping, that's not one you see every day.
Yeah, at that point, all 4 brooms are not doing enough work. It's really only those first 2 that are doing all the work.
You appreciate the effort, though.
Definitely,
Right? You
definitely.
know, anything you can do to get every inch. So skips rocks here in the 5th end. The button is completely open. The 4-foot is still relatively open. Shot rock is probably 80–90% in the 4-foot, but there's definitely an opportunity here for Castleton to draw around and sit shot rock if they can get to the corner of that red. This rock's hanging out a little wide and looks heavy. It's probably going to end up going through. And it does. Not the end of the world. Castleton is still in pretty good shape here. It's a tough draw for Michigan Tech to bury and be second shot. They can be second shot and still be open for Castleton to take them out here. But to bury behind that high red guard, it's almost a perfect shot is required.
Yeah, and weight's really important here too, because they can still be 1-2, but if they go a little bit behind the tee, they'll leave a nice pocket for Castleton to draw into. Shrink it down the scoring zone to almost nothing. Rock is away here. Sweepers are all off right now. Needs to curl and maybe slow up a little bit here.
Weight looks pretty nice. Getting the curl that they want. It's going to get there, but it is going to sail a little deep. And does end up being the 4th counting rock right now. And at this point, Castleton can not worry about that. If they want to be shot or cut down the scoring area, they're going to need to be well above that red in the back. If they're down to it, it's not going to help them a whole lot. And so T-line weight is going to be required here from Remy Maynard. We'll see if he can dial that in after his first one sailed through the back.
Yeah, if you could get to shot rock here, that would be a really good shot and make it very, very difficult for Michigan Tech here.
Yeah, and even if you, as long as you bury, even if you end up biting the 4-foot, top 4-foot, cut it down, it's going to be very hard for Michigan Tech to get more than 1 here.
Looks a little heavy again. Sweepers are all off. Weight's going to be fine. Ends up just being a little outside.
It's going to come down, and it is shot right in the top of the button.
I mean, it's pretty open.
So a good shot, but not quite the amount of curl they were looking for. Michigan Tech's going to have a relatively open hit here. As long as they hit it on the nose and stick, they'll get their 2 right back.
This is exactly what you were hoping for if you're Michigan Tech. After giving up the steal of 2 in the last end, come back from the break, set up your end well, and give yourself a shot for 2 with your last rock. Skip Gracie Cone has made a handful of really good takeouts so far in this game, ready to try and make another. Looks a little outside here.
Needs some curl. It's going to hit it, but end up spilling. And they're going to have to settle for the 1. Bit of a missed opportunity for Michigan Tech, but at the end of the day, they did score and keep it a relatively tight game here as we move to the 6th end. Ideally, Michigan Tech's going to have to look to steal at some point here in the 6th end without hammered down 2. You don't want to give up the 2 here and leave yourself needing a big number coming home in the last few ends. The play for the force here is going to be critical.
A steal in this end
Now they can do that.
could end up being good. Try to set up yourself to have the hammer coming back home in the 8th end. I'm guessing Michigan Tech here will elect for the center line guard as well. You're going to want as many guards here as possible to try to set up either your steal or a force.
I think a pretty well called and well played game here so far.
Definitely.
Neither skip has had to deviate a whole heck of a lot from their game plan. Teams without hammer have done a decent job of junking it up in the middle. It's just been Castleton thus far with the advantage with that big steal at 2. Outside of that end, a very tightly played game.
Michigan Tech with that center guard just off the center line, but still in a great position for them. Castleton here is going to try to set up their corner guard. That rock is really curling. Will it avoid the bump there? Okay. Bumps it back a little bit towards center, but they also get their corner guard out there.
Michigan Tech with their center guard and another one on the corner, happy to come right around, try and get into the 4-foot, make life difficult for Castleton.
A little bit tighter ice than I was expecting given the curl that we've seen. This
Yep.
one is curling pretty
And it is
quickly.
already on the guard.
Yeah.
Going to end up bumping their own, which is not
Playing
the end
the
of
raise
world.
here is
Playing
actually
it straight back.
Great.
And that is, again, talking about always having a plan B. That is an excellent plan B. When you have a rock that's over curled, you have your own guard on the center line there, send it straight back, and it's just like you made the shot perfectly.
Castleton looking to draw right on top of that red in the house, maybe even give it a little bump. Rock is curling quite nicely on a good line. Gonna get some finish here.
Got
All right.
on it.
A great freeze. Now any contact with that yellow rock is gonna more or less remove that red. At least any contact with any sort of weight.
Michigan Tech, knowing that, is going to want to avoid setting up a run back to that yellow and red rock in the 4-foot. Get on top of it again, and you're in pretty good shape.
Looks like we're going to make contact with the guard here. But still not a bad spot. Guarding your shot rock right now.
And Castleton, a little bit of indecision here. It's always tough, even though that run back would eliminate the red rock and leave them shot. It's never ideal when you're running an opponent's rock back into the house. You prefer to run your own rocks back.
Big slide here from the second. Lots of weight. Just trying to get the right line. Looks like it's just going to end up. Going to quite get the angle. All right.
They did.
Really,
they
really great shot.
That ended up working very nicely for Castleton.
Yeah, they hit it at just the perfect angle where the one that they were running back rolled out of play there. Totally missed the danger of the jam and leaving it there.
Michigan Tech does have a narrow port here to come through and go after that yellow in the 4-foot. It's probably a rock and a half wide. There's not much margin for error.
And even if you do clip one of the guards and open it up a little bit more, not the worst result, but this is looking like a good line. Swimmers are...
They're on it,
right.
And it's through.
Really nice.
Very good shot. Little, do get the jam in the back, but they do end up shot rock. That's a very nicely thrown rock from Michigan Tech.
Looks like they're gonna, Castleton here is either gonna play the peel or maybe try the run back double.
Yeah, at this point, I think Castleton with hammer, you play the peel, try and open it up, give yourself a shot. With hammer, with the middle wide open.
Oh,
they get it. That is excellently thrown.
A really well done shot there. Two really great takeouts there by the second. He's been on target with his takeouts all night, so it's great to feel confident in calling those really difficult takeout lines with your front end there. Just a draw here for Michigan Tech. They're going to try to get by those two yellow corners, but this is curling really hard. Are they going to get it by? Just not quite. Give yourself an option, though, for the future potentially to tap up into the house.
Yeah, not a bad outcome to end up right on the center line. The promote is definitely an option. There's enough guards in play that Castleton is going to choose to play the promote rather than a wide draw. See if they can get a second rock in the house. They have two, so there's on this side here, so decent margin for error. As long as you hit one and you're not too heavy, in all likelihood, you'll get one of those rocks into the house. Although it does look a little heavy here, they're going to hit one. The question is if it was light enough to avoid sending it all the way through. It is not. No harm, no foul. Ends up right back where you were before the shot was thrown. Just make an adjustment on the weight for the next throw, and that shot will still be there. Now Michigan Tech try the same thing on their red in the center.
The difficulty with these type of shots are always just trying to get the right weight. There's not too much loss when the rocks make contact, so you're really aiming to throw this one maybe back 4 foot or so, and that'll push the red stone to the tee line. It's a little outside here. Let's see what kind of contact they
Might
can
end
make.
up sliding right through that port. And there
All
you go.
right, wow. And
Wow.
it did over curl and just missed the back yellow there.
I would wager that throwing that rock down the center line and avoiding everything is almost harder than making contact with something.
Definitely is.
Sometimes you throw it right through the uprights and unfortunately miss making contact. The weight was great. The weight was perfect, just a little outside and ends up sailing through. Unfortunate not to clip something on its way by.
Castleton looking to play the same shot that they called the last time. Feels a little heavy again. We'll see if this might catch the back red. It looks like
And
it
it does.
will. That is a pretty good result. It does end up leaving shot rock open though, just based on the angle that it was hit on.
Yeah.
Giving a good opportunity here for the skip of Michigan Tech.
Michigan Tech should look just to throw a little control weight takeout, get by those guards, come over a little bit. You can probably hit the yellow close to center line and roll right over behind that guard.
And in this case, either roll is fine. You can go to the left or the right and get behind some guards, really protect yourself.
Stone is away. Sweeper's on it, then off it, then on it, then off it. Usually a good sign on the takeout. Although it does clip the guard.
Just barely caught that top guard and redirected it just enough to miss the rock in the house.
Usually on those takeouts, you take it as a good sign when the sweepers are up and off and up and off, because
Yeah.
it means that the line is close enough that the skip is pretty confident that it's on a good line. If they're on it right away and continuous, that usually means it's narrow, or if they're pushing it right away, it's wide. But when you see what may seem like indecision, that's usually a sign that it's pretty close. Just a little too narrow there, ends up clipping the guard.
It must end up curling harder than the sweepers and the vice were expecting to. I think if they were able to stay on it, they might have been able to hold that line and get by. Castleton looking just to guard here, guard that port that was just thrown through, protect their shot rock in the house, force a draw from Michigan Tech around the wing on the outside, which have been more or less untested lines at this point. Line's pretty good here. Sweepers just trying to place this exactly where they want. It'd be great if they could get to the corner of the red to prevent the tap.
That's a great shot there from Remy. The tap is still there, but it's got to be aligned pretty perfectly. And it takes away any possibility of a takeout. Comes down to what Michigan Tech's skip is more comfortable here with. Does she think she has the draw weight to come around the outside on a line that no one has thrown in a long time?
Yeah, I don't think so the whole game, honestly.
Or does she like that tap? It looks like she's going to try to play that draw around the outside.
I think I like the draw here. No reason to risk bumping any of the yellows into the house or leaving an easier draw lane for Castleton's last shot. And if you can bury this really nicely, it will make it very, very difficult to remove.
Right, when you're 1 against 4 up in the guards, throwing the tap, if you're off at all, either direction, you can inadvertently end up raising your opponent's rock in. The draw here, there's much less possibility of bringing one of your This rocks in, although this is going to over curl and will in fact end up clipping that yellow. Will it have enough? It will, pushing it into the top 8 foot. And now Castleton will sit 3. So again, with that line, it's been a long time since anyone's thrown that wide in this direction. I'm not sure we've seen a draw along that path coming this way all game, and just trying to figure out where the broom needs to be with the amount of curl we have. It's a very tough call when you're not throwing it consistently. Ends up a little inside, and unfortunately raising that yellow in. Now Michigan Tech, will still have that draw potentially, and they still have that raise as an option to still salvage 1 from this end.
This is a hammer here. This is a big shot here from Castleton.
Oh, I apologize. Look at me, totally out of touch with what's going on the ice. Thank you, Joe.
Wide open draw here
Yep.
for 4. It'd be great to come back after the force of 1 to get 4 with your hammer here. Going along that same line, you just got to make sure we don't clip any of the guards. Better to be outside than anything else. Line looks good. Might make contact with one of theirs, but should stick around.
Yep. And with that backing, you sit down and get your 4.
And really take control of the game here.
Yeah, at this point, with only 2 ends left, it's hard to see a path for Michigan Tech back into this game, knowing that even if they get a big number here, they would need to then steal in the 8th end.
If you're Michigan Tech, you just got to shake that end off, try to set yourself up for a big number, and you might have to hope for a couple of misses from Castleton to get you back in this game. You're going to need at least 4 here. Then you can try to hope to steal 2 and force an extra end. An uphill battle for sure, but definitely anything can happen.
Yeah, leaving yourself stealing 3 is probably unlikely. You're looking at really needing 4 here to keep this a game into the 8th end. But we've seen big numbers around here already this weekend. We're only on the 4th draw. We've had plenty of 5-enders. We've seen 6. So it's certainly a possibility here for Michigan Tech.
Are you surprised with the guard here from Castleton?
I
Would you have
am.
expected them to go in the house?
I'm very surprised. Up 6 with 2 ends left, I would say really I would be looking to put the pressure on. Just go right into the house. Make Michigan Tech, force them to ignore my shot in the house, because they need to set up guards if they hope to score a big number here. So throwing a guard actually can only end up really helping Michigan Tech. All right, the more traffic you have in the front of the rings is how big numbers come about. If you play into the rings, then there's a lower possibility of you giving up a big number when you have your opponent chasing at this point in the game. But we'll see how it plays out.
Castleton definitely coming around the outside here. Will this stick around? Michigan Tech skip is trying to sweep it all the way through, and it does. I don't mind the shot through either there. Give them, like you said, nothing to freeze to, nothing to draw behind.
Right. The miss, in my opinion, really is light. If you're in the house or even if you're through, you're not hurting yourself at that point.
And that's the type of stuff that the sweepers will be talking to each other about, setting up before the shot, talking about what the miss is, where they'd like to be if you should be heavier or lighter outside. All of that is just part of how they communicate as a team. Michigan Tech drawn behind the two guards will stick around in the back of the house. At this point, they're looking to score big numbers, so that one they're going to try to come back into play and end up scoring at the end.
Now Castleton is forced into the draw game here, where one philosophy when you're up big is to just try and eliminate as many opponent's stones as possible. But with those guards, they're going to be forced to draw here.
Looks like they're going to come up late again and place another guard that will end up helping Michigan Tech here. I don't think we've had to touch on it yet, but there is a 5-rock guard rule, meaning that any rock that is not in the house cannot be removed until after the 5th stone. So this is the rock that's being delivered right now, is the first rock that could take out a guard. I think Castleton will probably try to start electing removing some guards from play. In this case, Castleton could have on their previous shot taken out their own yellow guard. They just can't remove their opponent's guards.
And they're electing to draw here, which I think I do understand that call. At this point, there's enough traffic up front that trying to peel the guards may be a futile exercise. If you can draw behind and cut down the scoring area, you hopefully eliminate the possibility of a big number for Michigan Tech, but there is always that risk, although this is an excellent shot from Castleton right to the top of the 4-foot, behind all those guards. And now Michigan Tech really has their work cut out for them.
Yeah, that's a perfect shot. Really couldn't draw that one up much better. It's almost going to be impossible to get to nose on that rock with any sort of a wait for a bump. So you're really just playing right now for some corner freezes to set up a potential heavy draw. Does look like it's on a good line though. Sweeper's been on it the whole time. They are going to get it just past the top guard and down to the yellow. It's about as good as you could ask for there. Start giving yourself some new angles to look at to eventually remove that yellow. Castleton just looking for the guard here. Protect their one, and it's got a piece of the button there. More shots that you can have Michigan Tech focusing on a guard, the better at this point. Looks like the guard is going to overcurl a little bit here. But still not a bad result. If you do hit that yellow that was just thrown, you probably lose the red and the yellow behind it, but you're still keeping that guard there, which still helps you out if you're Castleton. Michigan Tech trying to throw really heavy weight here, indicating peel.
Shot is away here from the third of Michigan Tech, Owen Stevenson, from Appleton, Wisconsin, a sophomore anthropology major. He's been curling for 8 years, picked it up after watching the 2018 Winter Olympics, famously first gold medal in USA curling history, John Schuster's team winning in South Korea. For a lot of people, a lot of potential new curlers at the time, that was a big moment, seeing the United States win gold at the Olympic level. Inspired big new generation of curlers. It's good to see. Good to see that paying off here at College Nationals now with kids who are inspired by that.
Castleton looking to just put some more traffic in there. I think the shot was called as the draw, but that is going to work out fine as well.
Yeah.
Michigan Tech starting to run out of rocks here. They need to come into the house and try and find a way to deal with that shot stone for Castleton. So we're going to have to start looking at some different angles here on some of these run backs. They've probably missed the opportunity with the amount of traffic up front to spend rocks on peeling things.
Yeah, but I haven't seen
I think at this point they're trying to run back on their own, trying to hit the red at the top of the forefoot to remove that yellow.
And if you do end up just peeling, it's still a good result. But with every rock thrown,
It's getting really
it just gets hairier and hairier. And over curls there and ends up replacing that guard stone on an even tighter angle now. Castleton has options here. They can throw another guard, or they can just try and come around and put another rock in the house and really put the squeeze on Michigan Tech. I believe the call is a draw. Just trying to get right into the top of the 8-foot would be a great result. If you do end up getting into the 4-foot, becoming second shot even better, but anything behind that red guard is going to be a welcome result here for Castleton.
Rock is away here. Sweepers seem to like it so far. Line's looking good. Sweepers are on it right now. It does seem to be slowing down pretty quickly. Might just end up a guard here. Going to tap the red. And that's a fine result too. Makes any sort of a run back using that red even more difficult. Draw lane is still there, but it's only for one. So the biggest thing right now is no big numbers for Castleton. Lots of discussion here for Michigan Tech. They're in a difficult position. Got to find the right angle to run this one back, and that is what they're going to try to do here. Hit that red with some weight, send it back into the house, hitting their own red into the yellow. Perfect shot here would set them up pretty well. It's hard to tell with the other guard right next to their red stone how much, if any, overlap there is. So there's really only a couple of really specific spots where you can hit this stone to make the shot that you want. Lots of weight here. Sweepers on it for line, trying to hold it out there. Going to just over curl on them.
End up crashing on the guards, sending another yellow into the house. It's now the third stone there. Does open up the middle a little bit, make future run backs potentially available, but Castleton should feel pretty good here about putting another one somewhere around the center line, whether it's a guard or in the top 12 or 8-foot, and it's really going to make life difficult with the last stone for Michigan Tech. The best case right now for Michigan Tech would be a score of 2, which is really not going to be enough at this point with only one end remaining after this.
skip Remy Maynard with the release here. He let us know he wanted to give a shout out to his Nana and Papa. So if you're watching, Remy gave you a nice little shout out. I hope you're enjoying the game.
Is going to make it around and end up guard, but below, crucially, below those two reds, further complicating any run back they have. And in all likelihood, this is probably going to be the last shot of the game here for Castleton. Try a run back here, see if you can make an excellent shot to get your two. But unfortunately at this point, just not going to be enough. Castleton did a really good job of getting a rock in the 4-foot area right on the button and really making it hard for Michigan Tech to get it out of there and score multiple.
Michigan Tech might just barely have enough of that center red. Oh, they are going to call their timeout here. Discuss with their coach and the alternates. You really have two options here, and it does look like they both have to be the run back. One where you send your center one back to your own red to try to take out the yellow, or you hit the one on the left and try to angle it right to the yellow itself. Both shots are only for 2. You really wish you could get a few more here, but those are your only options right now.
At this point, the one on the left is more accessible, but it's a much longer run back, much more difficult. Not quite sure why they're looking at the yellow here. You don't want to push that back, but just trying to figure out what angle is going to work best. Michigan Tech, relatively new club. It's one of the great things about hosting the College Nationals here is we get teams from all over the country. Michigan Tech from Houghton, Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. They were founded in 2023, so a very new club to the college curling community. They have 30 members. They curl out of the Copper Country Curling Club in Houghton, Michigan. Castleton has been around a little bit longer. They were founded in 2017. They curl up with the Rutland Rocks Curling Club out of Rutland, Vermont. Castleton is located in Castleton, Vermont. Smaller club, 5 members. But they have been a consistent presence here on the college curling circuit for the last half-decade, almost a decade at this point. All right, Michigan Tech's made their call. They're going to go for that outside red, the high run back. See if they can send it all the way back on the right angle and salvage 2 points here. High degree of difficulty, but in what is likely the last shot of the game, might as well go for the spectacular.
Definitely. Really good shot here. Let them play the eighth end. Looks like it is going to over.
Crashes on that yellow, ends up a steal of 1 for Castleton, and in all likelihood that will be handshakes for us here on sheet 3.
That is setting up a big end for them, which is scary.
Castleton now extends their lead 9-2. They are up 7.
Maybe not.
Technically, there are 8 points still available to be scored.
All right, it looks like we actually. Oh no, okay.
They are done.
We are shaking. Yep,
Well, a great game by both teams. That was an exciting watch, and really good to see two of the college clubs play a strong game against each other.
All right, so final score here after 7 ends. Castleton 9, Michigan Tech 2. A game that was much closer than the scoreline would suggest. Castleton moves to 2-0 in pool play, while Michigan Tech falls to 0-2. They both will resume action tomorrow morning, finishing out pool play before we move into the bracket portion of the tournament. So right now we've got, looks like, 2 games left in action, or 3 games still in action on the ice. Move over to sheet 4 here, where Penn State is taking on UW-Madison. Penn State's Yellow Rocks, Wisconsin-Madison is Red Rocks. Penn State's got the lead here, finishing up the 7th end. They're up 5-2. But Wisconsin is sitting shot rock. As Penn State tries the draw. Weight looks pretty good. Just got to get by, and is going to rub on that high red.
This has been a really exciting game on sheet 4 the whole time. There's been so many rocks in the house consistently around the button, and this end is no different.
So nice little pocket here for Wisconsin to draw right into, or they could throw the hit and roll and just play, try and eliminate that yellow and flop right on over to the button.
Looks like hit and roll is the call here.
So Penn State does have hammer in this end, which could play into the decision of, rather than trying to draw, and there is a pocket here, but if you throw it heavy, you're just creating more of a pocket for Penn State to draw in. If you execute the hit and roll perfectly here, it makes it difficult for Penn State to deal with that rock.
Supers are on it real early. Looks like it is going to over curl. They're right now on their top red. Okay. Still rubs off and hits the yellow out.
Good plan B. Ends up, you do leave yourself sitting 2. Now the center of the ice is fairly open. All those rocks available for Penn State to either hit, or you could draw right into the pocket there. Looks like Penn State's going to try and hit that red, try and roll right over. Now, no guarantees that if you hit this one, if you hit it too close to nose, you're not going to end up shot rock. You're going to end up just staying right out there in the top of the 4-foot.
We'll see what kind of weight they throw here. There's also a chance to curl to the red on the right, get that one closer to nose. Looks like they are on the outside one, staying on the outside. Sweepers sweeping to curl.
They're fine. They're fine.
Move some rocks around in the back.
Not a
Leave
bad
Wisconsin still shot rock.
Hard to tell exactly who the third rock is, whether it's Penn State or Wisconsin-Madison there. Looks like they're just trying to hit the yellow that was just thrown through. Might be able to catch a piece of the back yellow too and sit 4, but your goal is to just hit this one through the board.
Yeah, hit and a little bit of roll towards the center line is probably ideal here. Ignore that yellow in the 8-foot. It's coming down heavy and wide. Is going to get a piece. End up sending that yellow back into the red. And now it's very interesting to see who in fact is shot rock. Now this is hammer.
I think just the draw here, although they might be setting up for a takeout to try to get to
Depends
the
if they
side
think
red.
that Wisconsin-Madison is shot rock, you can try and bump that back and get your 2.
They're opening up the ice here.
But if you think that yellow is shot, then just the draw is all you need. Although there's nothing wrong with a heavy draw down to that red. Just
Yes.
bump it back and use it as backing and eliminate any possibility of a measurement. Sweeper's trying to push it. It ends up curling very nicely to nose. Penn State will take 2. And they take a commanding 7-2 lead, and that will also do it for us on sheet 4 as we got handshakes. Penn State. What's that? Oh, they were just, I'm told they weren't shaking. Well, I mean, 7-2. Okay. Apologies. Well, they're going to play 8, I guess. Well, Wisconsin-Madison will do their best to make the impossible happen and get 5 in the 8th.
We haven't been watching this game on sheet 4 the entire time. You don't know how comfortable Penn State is with all of their hits, but based on the last one, looked like they should be able to handle this end very nicely. Only need to remove 4 red rocks from play. Penn State here, looks like they're just going to throw this one right through. Don't want to give anything to freeze on or draw behind. This is the right call. Wisconsin-Madison will be doing the best they can to set up a couple of well-placed guards. Try to create as much clutter as they can to get a score of 5 here and force an extra end. But Penn State will only need to play a couple of takeouts and they should be all set. Like we had mentioned a little earlier, this rock cannot be taken out of play immediately due to the 5 rock guard rule. So Penn State will have to wait a couple more throws before they can go after it. They will elect to throw this one through again as well.
And a smart play to throw it through. You don't
Definitely.
need anything in play. The worst case scenario is you end up light and accidentally throwing a guard that can only serve to help your opponent here. You're not concerned about scoring. All you're concerned about is eliminating 4 rocks and letting the math work out in your favor. So you just throw those rocks away, wait for the free guard zone to go away, and then you can go about the business of cleaning things up here.
Wisconsin-Madison looking to set up the corner guard on the other side as well. Get them as even as possible. Really well executed shot there.
one more rock here for Penn State to throw away before they can start eliminating stones. Skip sets the broom almost on the edge of the sheet just to make sure that you don't accidentally throw it into one of those guards that was placed. And it's through. And now the question for Wisconsin-Madison is, do you throw another guard before coming around, or you start coming around now? Honestly, down 5, I'm not quite sure it matters. You're going to need to rely on some misses from Penn State here to have any hope.
I'll give you funny. I don't know if that's.
I kind of like another guard here. It looks like they are going to try the draw. Sweepers are on it hard, though. Trying to make sure it gets by. Looks like they will. So now they're just trying to curl to get it buried.
And a very nice draw there.
Really nice.
Perfectly behind the corner guard and buried. Unfortunately, Penn State's going to be able to start eliminating rocks here, and unless they miss, there's nothing that Wisconsin-Madison can do about it. The math just does not line up in their favor. So going after those guards, if you're Penn State, you don't care at all which one you hit. You're just trying to hit something. Ideally, you want to spill out instead of jamming.
Almost. Leaving the guard there, though, is not quite what you want to do.
No.
It would be the most Penn State thing of all time to find a way to lose this. But
Priority 1 is eliminating a rock, but sticking around there is not what they would have liked to do.
If they were able to make the double, though, makes it all worth it. So risk versus reward, they're still certainly not in any sort of danger. So I like giving it a shot, practicing some tight draw lines, or takeout lines rather.
And another excellent draw from Wisconsin-Madison, perfectly behind that corner guard. So they're doing their best to put the pressure on Penn State here. So they'll go after this other corner guard. You really don't want to jam on the guard now and leave that guard there. You really want the peel, because if you somehow leave that guard in place, all of a sudden it does get a little uncomfortable.
Alright, still leaving the
So
guard
did
there.
get the roll, so that redstone is uncovered, which does help. But with 2 yellow rocks in guard positions, there's plenty for Wisconsin-Madison to draw and hide behind here.
At least one rock is going to be wide open for a hit opportunity, so still not a bad spot. Gonna really try to get this one buried behind those 2 sets of guards. Anything to not set up some sort of a double. This one's got a lot of room left to curl.
they're playing well. Where was this from?
And it can go deep, that's not a problem. You just got to be in the house and preferably buried. So that's a pretty good shot.
Definitely have a couple of double opportunities, but really the priority here for Penn State is just getting rid of this red rock. If they do get rid of this one, the worst that they can do is tie and go into the 9th end.
Well, John Schuster.
They make the nice
All right.
takeout there.
And they got the 1 and the end up shot rock, which is a decent byproduct of that. Now Wisconsin-Madison's going to need to hit this and roll under cover, because leaving anything open leaves the opportunity for Penn State to end the game here. Wisconsin
Little on the
Madison
outside.
sweeping
Don't want
hard.
the jam here. And it
And
does.
Jam is going to take out that red. And that runs Wisconsin Madison out of rocks. And Penn State is going to win here by a score of 7-2. That'll do it for us here in the fourth draw. 2026 College Nationals. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us tonight, watching some curling. Teams will be back on the ice at 8:30, I believe, tomorrow morning for the first draw of the day, draw number 5. We've got 2 more draws of pool play before we move into the knockout round, so plenty still up in the air, plenty still left to be played for, and we'll look forward to all those games coming tomorrow. A reminder that every draw, all 4 sheets, are streamed live on our YouTube channel. We'll have commentary going throughout the weekend. Everything is available to watch. We appreciate you all tuning in, and have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.